So here is the breakdown, right? Of the 331 customers we interviewed, they were processing a total of 37,353 invoices per month. So that is an average of 113 invoices per month per company. So this is the grand total of all of them combined, and then this is now the per company. Of course, there's highs and lows, ups and downs. This is where we ended up on the middle ground for the 331. Of those, there was an average of 2 full-time equivalents handling the accounts payable workflow. So that is 80 hours per week on accounts payable. So that means they're processing an average of 56.5 invoices per month per employee. And then the average employee wage was $30 an hour, which is $4,800 a month or $57K a year. So a nice accounting standard there. So these are our average breakdowns for all the companies that we saw and spoke with. And then this is where it starts to get interesting. So during the interviews, we got the customers to tell us what their time breakdown was for accounts payable before they started using automation. So on your screen, you can see the percentages of what they responded with. So before automation, 55% of their time was spent keying invoices. So that's the manual data entry, the coding, all the stuff that we spoke of in the polls there. 19% of time was spent managing approvals. So that is emailing invoices for approval, make sure they're routing to the correct people, maybe updating a folder or shared drive that says, hey, here are your approvals, or of course, even handing paper throughout the office and then chasing down for those approvals. This also includes all the follow-ups that are required. So you have to be the one to make sure, okay, who's that sitting with? Have they approved it? Where is that within the flow? As well as answering questions, because we always get questions from the approvers that we need to answer before we actually get the green light from them. So all of those aspects of approvals management is included in that 19%. And then for the scanning and filing, they were answering that 7% of their time was spent on the scanning and filing. Of course, this is the one where we saw some kind of highs and lows. With scanning paper invoices, you of course have to get them into either your ERP or a shared drive or an electronic archive, or some teams are, as mentioned, still filing into paper. So then they put it in the paper filing cabinet, but they also got to go get the approval. Sometimes they're even making copies of things, then going to get that for approval. So that's kind of that whole scanning and filing process. Also organizing things by vendors or departments. Matching things up, so when you need necessary documents to the invoices, you want to include that. So all of that is included in your scanning and filing. The reason why I'm mentioning all the things that are included is because everything I'm mentioning here are items that automation helps with. So 15% of time was spent on managing payments. So that is, as mentioned, pulling the invoice info, preparing the payment run, going to get those signatures on the payments, turning those invoices into payments, updating things in the ERP, mark it as paid, updating in the bank, or printing and mailing checks. This also includes sending remittance emails to the vendors. So all the things you can picture for your payments process. I'm sure a lot of you in attendance here today can relate to some, if not all, of the items that I've listed here. Since you showed that you're able to respond there, which I appreciate, let me know, is any of the things that I've mentioned here today things that you relate to? What do you think the percentages here? Would you say, yeah, 55% on keying, I'm around the same, I'm more, I'm less? How does that compare for you guys? Let me know. And we'll continue along. And then you can see here, as mentioned, average number was 2.03 FTE for the teams that we spoke with. So now you can see a very subtle change here. This slide is now after AP automation. So this is how they felt that things were going once they had converted to automation, had it implemented. Thank you so much, Venetia. I appreciate the response. That's great. That looks about right for your department as well. You're definitely in the right spot here at our webinar, because we can help determine if maybe automation is the right fit for you. So here are the averages after accounts payable automation has come into place. So the average time saved for that keying, that data entry, that coding was 55%. So a high change there on that process. And the reason why is because of features such as auto capture, line item capture, smart coding. These are all features that an automation tool is able to provide. Now I know for you, you're like, I don't know what those mean, but we'll get into that in the demonstration part of the webinar. but that's why we're able to save so much time on that data entry. And actually this number has gone up as well. So great things on the data entry capture and saving time there. And then for the approvals process, they were saving 56% of time on managing the approvals. As mentioned earlier, that's because of things where the automation tool is able to automatically route your invoices to the correct approver. So now you don't need to kind of go through all those details and identify who it needs to go to. The actual system will do that for you. In addition, the system can send follow-up reminders. So that's a couple of ways that we're able to save time. And of course, the best part, it's much easier for the approvers. They're not the biggest fans of having to sign that paper and walk it back down to the office, or go add the stamp into some sort of shared drive, or even responding to emails, clogging the inbox. Now they can just pull up every invoice that needs their approval and give it the quick check mark. So saving time there for multiple team members. For the scanning and filing, the average percent of time saved was 33%. So as mentioned, just to kind of recap, these averages you're seeing, this is across all 331. These are the averages for what we saw after all of it. As mentioned, there was some ups, there were some downs. These are the averages that we saw. So 33% on filing, time saved. That's because with automation, once an invoice is in the system, it's there, it's saved, it's searchable, it's keeping track of everything that's taken place, such as changes, approvals. So the system also organizes and categorizes your invoice for you. So now anytime you, a purchaser, CEO, or even the auditor needs to find anything, you can easily find it within the system with honestly just the click of a button. So those are all ways that the scanning and filing is helping save time there. Definitely no need for any paper anymore. So we're helping reduce paper, save the planet, right? So yeah, that's a great perk with the system. And then last but not least here, the average percent of time saved on payments was 30%. So with our Quadient AP automation system, we'll actually print and mail your checks for you. We can also send out your ACH or EFT payments for you. So now there's no need for you to enter the details into your bank and or into your ERP. No need for you to print and mail checks yourself, which I'm sure we've all been there. I know in my last position, this was me all the time, where I actually had to go and get stamps and whatnot, or I had to get them at the postal office, and then I had to update my petty cash. And it's just, yeah, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. If you choose to use automation, we can handle that for you. And so yeah, with the system, the way it would work is you just select what you want to pay, and then you can easily just click, get the approval, and release it to your vendor. And the system will even send remittance email to the vendor, so you don't have to do that reminder or notification. Of the 331 companies, they were spending 80 hours per week on accounts payable, and we saved them 38.16 hours per week with automation, something we're very, very proud of. There's some great time savings for the teams that are now utilizing automation. And then, as mentioned, we want to make sure that the value is worth it. We don't want you to get something that isn't going to benefit you. But the value definitely showed to be worth it when comparing the total subscription cost at $873 a month to the value in both hours saved, so $4,579. That means that for those teams that have an AP team member who's ready to take on the next step in their role, as opposed to having to backfill that spot, they have all this time savings now, and they have automation that's able to do a lot of the tasks. If you take that 4,579 minus the 873 here, that's $3,706 in savings, as opposed to backfilling that role. Or of course, we don't want to change any jobs. We want to keep our accounting teams focused on what matters most. So the dollar budget saved is where that reallocation calculator kicks in. So by getting the AP team to focus on what matters, what they're interested in, which is helping keep the company on budget and saving money, they saved $4,400 per month thanks to those hours they were able to reallocate to those higher value building tasks for the company. So as you can see here, the comparison between the dollar savings and the subscription cost was awesome to hear from our customers. And I hope that gave you guys a good visual of how the return on investment happens with things like accounts payable automation. That actually does it for the ROI calculator. Benefits here talks about invoices being managed with less clicks, which is great, save time. reduce risk of errors, duplicates, fraud, save money, easily save, file, access, and review AP from anywhere. So that's a huge win. Obviously, a lot of teams want to work remote and go paperless. We provide you with that. And then reduce late payments and increase visibility. Thank you, everybody.